You need a law for that. I mean, it's sad. What I'm saying is sad. It's like black humor, because if a criminal stands for elections anywhere in the world, he won't get a single vote. But in India, we have to have a law, because as Indians, we've in the past seen that we do end up voting for criminals. So we need to have a law which tells us you can't stand for elections if you're a criminal. So you see, these laws actually tell us also a lot about what we are. Contextualize it for people who live here in the US. I would imagine about 90 to 95% of people in India have either given dowry or taken dowry or both. So when you're communicating to the huge majority of the country and telling them that what they have been indulging in perhaps is not the best thing to do, and most probably the TV that they're watching your show on has also come in dowry. So you have to, which is why it is so important for us to communicate this with love. And we had this discussion very early on with the core team. I said, with what driving emotion are we doing this show? Are we doing this show with anger? Because then our conversation is different. And I'm not doing this with anger. I'm doing this with love, because I really feel that only with love can you actually, affect a person and bring about change. There are so many things that we need to, and we have to look inward, and I'm included in that. I'm not excluded in that. We have to look inward, at ourselves.
But did it make people uncomfortable that you touched on these how did they respond?
Well, by and large, the huge majority, the very positive thing I want to tell you is that the huge majority of Indians has just loved the show. And that speaks a lot for what India is today. It speaks a lot for the fact that India wants to change. India is ready for change. I mean, I would have imagined, none of us had imagined a show which is picking such heavy topics would be so popular across the country. And the fact that it is so popular really speaks well for us as Indians today. That we have issues, we have problems, but we want to leave them behind. We want to come out of them. And we really want to move ahead and improve ourselves. I think that's what the success of the show tells us.
How do you come up about choosing the subjects? I mean,
we have a lot of fights.
And are there subjects where you say we're not going to touch that?
No, so far that's never been the case. We've picked really difficult topics as well. One of our really difficult topics was untouchability, which is a big issue in India. The constitution of our country says that we're all equal. But in reality, that's not so yet. It's a journey that we have to, it's still a journey that we are on to reach there. Sure, equality is an issue in a lot of societies, I think, but in India, because of the way the caste system is, it just makes it a lot more complicated. And that's a very touchy topic as well. It's a topic that people feel very emotionally about. And 15% of India, roughly 15% of India is Dalit, which is the untouchable caste. And so therefore 85% is not Dalit. And we are communicating with the 85% of country, speaking to them about, what are we doing? What are we doing? Is it right? Are we comfortable with it?
So how did you go about that?
Well, we in all our shows, in all our topics, we're just honest, but we do it with a lot of love. We do it with a lot of love, so that people, let me say this much, that while the majority of the people have loved our show, there has been a minority, probably in every topic, that doesn't like us. Like, there are a couple of men's organizations which hate me. They keep writing to me emails about men's problems, and why don't you take up men's problems? So we did, in fact, in our last season, we picked up masculinity. What is it to be a male? Because we figured that unless we relook at and hopefully redefine what a man is, things are not going to change. So women have changed, women are changing, but men, don't manage to change, by and large. By and large,
Well,
we're a stubborn lot. So we thought we'd look at, what is a real man? Is a real man someone who goes and beats up people? Is a real man a person who's a protector? Is he the guy who's going to, so what's a real man? Is he? So I strongly feel that we have to, from the time that the child is born, you have to treat both children equally, whether it's a boy or a girl. And you have to allow the boy child to cry. You have to allow him to cry. Because the first thing we tell a boy when he cries, don't cry. Are you a girl? Why are you crying? So he grows up feeling that I'm not supposed to cry. And when you tell the child not to cry, you're actually removing him further and further away from his emotions. He's feeling something and you're not allowing him to feel that. So you're distancing him from his emotions. And then you're surprised why he's beating up his wife. Because the fact is that when you tell the child that it's perfectly all right to cry, it's perfectly all right to feel terrible, it's perfectly all right to feel scared. Most boys are told, hey, you can't feel scared. You're a boy. Are you scared of the dark? Come on, go to the roof alone. So boys feel scared, and we have to tell a small child of 4 that it's all right to be scared. And so that boys can grow up more sensitive. Right now, we are creating boys, or we are working towards creating boys who grow up to be insensitive. There's a portion of the show in which I'm told by another man. He says that in India, real men don't cry, and real men don't hold their wives' hands. The wife walks 2-3 feet behind. Now, you must understand, India is a large country. So when I'm saying this, don't take it literally. This is mostly in rural India, and there are a lot of extremely progressive people in India as well. So I don't want to give you all the wrong impression. But this is an issue. There are villages in India, in rural India, where this is the belief, this is how they've grown up. So on the show, I said, based on all of these definitions of what a real man is, I am completely not a real man because I hold my wife's hand all the time. I hug my children. You're not supposed to hug your children. You're not supposed to show affection to your child as a male, a true male. So I hug my children all the time. I cry all the time. I was crying just before I entered the stage.
That's true. It is true. Yes. We were both crying, actually.
I was listening to, what's her name? Saida?
Said, I guess yes,
I was listening to her speak and I was in tears. So I cry all the time.
Have you cried on movies, on TV?
On TV, every episode of mine, yeah.
Excellent.
Not a single episode goes by when I don't cry. And it's not only during the show itself, it's even when I'm researching it. When you're researching these topics, it takes days for us to go through all the material we collect. And invariably, in every topic that we've picked, we get to a point where me and Satya and Swati and all of us get so disheartened. I'm looking at an interview and I'm weeping. And we kind of shut it off and we're like, why are we doing this? Nothing's going to change. You suddenly feel very disheartened. But then you come across a person who is working in that and has got so much strength, so much resilience, so much grace, and such dignity that it brings you back to your feet. In these 5 years that I've researched Satyameva Jayate, I've seen the worst in mankind and I've seen the best, the most beautiful in mankind. I've come across people who are such amazing and inspirational people. I spoke to this lady whose son had been murdered. Her son had got married to a girl from a different religion, and so it was an honor killing. This lady spoke with such dignity and such grace, and with such forgiveness in her heart. I just couldn't get over it. It was it was so amazing to listen to her speak. She's talking about her son who's been killed, and I don't know where she finds the strength from to still look for love, in people. I was speaking to these two women. We often assume in India that women who are from rural India are uneducated and therefore not as strong as women from cities, etc., etc. So these two women who, in the same episode were of honor killings, one woman's son and the other woman's brother was killed. And they were ostracized from the village. They were targeted. They were not sold anything. Nobody spoke to them in the village. So the ashes are taken in what is called a kalash, like a pot. That pot was not sold to them. That's the kind of segregation they faced in the village. And then they did a police complaint and all of that. So the case was going on. They were threatened. They were offered money. There was political pressure put on them. Every kind of pressure was put on them. But they didn't take the case back. And they fought the case. And they won the case. And those men are now convicted. Now, what I'm trying to say here is that these two women are from a small village in India. And the kind of courage they show in a city like Mumbai, when a political party announces that tomorrow is Mumbai Bandh, which means nobody dare go out of the house, we're going to stone every car that goes out, some kind of protest that they're doing. Nobody leaves the house. In a city like Mumbai, which is a large city, nobody even knows who I am. We're all strangers in this city. But we're frightened to step out of the house because someone has announced that we can't. Here, these two ladies are specifically targeted. They're still staying in the same village, and they still have the courage to stand up and say, no, we don't want money. We want justice. Where do they get this courage from?
So it's,
it's really amazing. So I've met such wonderful people in this journey of 5 years.
it's hard to sort of escape the fact that you lost weight or gained weight. And you sort of were thinner in here, but I understand it's because you're in a movie right now. You're in the midst of shooting a movie. Has it changed?
I'm actually getting ready for this film that I'm playing an older man who's an ex-wrestler. So I'm putting on a lot of weight, which is fun.
But has it changed your choices of stories as a star, as a movie star?
Not really. I wouldn't say it has changed my choices as an actor, but quite naturally I get attracted to films because of who I am. So this film that I'm doing, for example, it's called Dangal, which means wrestling, and the story is about this wrestler who has a dream to win a gold medal, an international gold for his country. He can't fulfill his dream because he doesn't have money, he has to give up wrestling, and so he decides that his son will fulfill his dream. And then he proceeds to have 4 daughters in the next 15 years. So the story is about his daughter fulfills his dream. Yeah.
And exactly. Well, Aamir, you could have easily rested in the limelight, and yet you took, with courage and with integrity and with love and inspiration, you just went ahead and inspired, half of India's population. This is a huge deal and inspiring all of us here in America. So, chapeau to you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Keep going. We are all behind you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.